Recently, I've been watching quite a few videos about 17th to 19th century warfare, as one does in their free time. For most people, this will be the start of a pipeline that leads to them becoming a holdfast nations at war player. But that's not the only option. Despite David Baszucki's best efforts to make life on Roblox as difficult as possible for the actually passionate game developers, there are still gems to be found on Roblox. Of course, you wouldn't normally see them on the front page since there's an inverse relationship between quality and player count for Roblox games. Today, we're going to be looking at the exception. A game with some real style, as one of my friends would say, a game with some salt and pepper on it. Some real wabi-sabi. It's a game that takes the familiar but adds onto it to create an experience that you can't find anywhere else. You are not the main character in Guts and Blackpowder. In most zombie games, you have a small group of typically 4 protagonists who fight against never-ending hordes of zombies with nothing but their fists, their smarts, and several automatic rifles with more ammo than you find in the possession of a father of an upper middle class family of 4 in Texas. This is quadruply true on Roblox, where every single zombie game is a copy of Black Ops Zombies mode. And if it isn't, the devs will still find another way to make it unfun and grindy. Not Guts and Blackpowder, you actually have 19 other people with you instead of 4. The downside is you are only armed with the finest of 1815 technology, which consists of a musket. But because it's smoothbore, you hit the neighbor's dog when 4 zombies break into your house. Yet, Guts and Blackpowder has 10,000 players, the largest of any Napoleonic era game, and possibly the honor of having the second largest network of sleeper agents on the internet. It has basically created its own genre of what can be described as historical zombie survival. So what did the devs do correctly, and why do so many people love it? I want to quickly go over the lore because it adds another layer of immersion to the game, and it's pretty well done. And the setting is very bleak and religion is involved, so you know the 35-year-old tabletop tactics players will be all over this. In 1812, a new disease spread across Europe. Infected individuals who die as sinners reanimate. Their souls are trapped within their own bodies, unable to pass on to heaven. This is quite a problem once you consider the amount of dead in the graveyards and cemeteries. In 2 years, the blight would spread from Russia to the western reaches of France. 2 months later, it will make its way across the so-called impenetrable blockade of the Royal Navy and afflict London. Nobody in Europe knows why hell itself opened up to swallow the continent whole. Perhaps it was the senseless bloodshed of the Napoleonic Wars, or perhaps it was just a scheduled calling of the unfaithful. The eternal French Empire under Napoleon is gone within 1,000 weeks, while the citizens of Britain can only watch as the sun sets over their capital one last time. These are truly the last days of Europe. Get it? Because I'm using the TNO OST, and I guess you can also call this a war that didn't happen. We only use reference humor on this channel. Speaking of references, GMB is full of references and jokes. Here is Shrek on Copenhagen. One of the NPCs paraphrases an Indiana Jones movie, and up in the clock tower is an HECU Marine from Half-Life who is also the Demon of Babylon. But what makes this different from 99% of other Roblox games is that the GMB devs know how to take their game seriously. If you're not aware of how things work on Roblox, sometimes games will put up showcase images that make you go TS Tuffington, and you click play and the actual game looks like it was designed by someone with concepts of a passion for graphic design and a very buggy installation of MS Paint. As Megamind will tell you, presentation matters. Just look at the people who say the trailers are the best part of War Thunder. GMB presents the gameplay very well. Graphics and effects are some of the best you'll find on Roblox. The current UI is unintrusive and styled appropriately for an 1800 setting. The sounds and visuals of combat are top-notch. Explosions and gunfire are punchy. There are voice-acted NPCs and voice-acted callouts. You hear yells and grunts of soldiers as your team fights. Even without getting into the gameplay, the feeling of battle is well done. There are these pieces of environmental storytelling on maps that really showcase how the world has gone to hell. The devs have tried their best to make their game as historically accurate as possible. And of course, there are these epic finales to the best hits of the 18th century at the end of every campaign mission. GMB smartly works around the limitations of Roblox to make itself as immersive as possible. By general video game standards, it looks competent, it feels competent, and it sounds competent. It's a testament to the quality of the atmosphere the devs create when the game is able to make 20 guys on a dinky little raft going up against the pride and joy of the Royal Navy into a cinematic moment. Oh yes, I should probably talk about the gameplay now. By the way, you'll want to have shift lock for the best results. Go to settings, shift lock, set this to on, and press shift to toggle. This game is immersive, combat is slow, deliberate, and weighty. This does not make GMB a grunt simulator. Both your melee and firearm are solid weapons. Your character can sustain a surprising amount of punishment, whether that be zombie bites or falling off a building. The pacing is actually similar to other Horde games. With something like 10 hours of playtime, you can comfortably get up to 70 KDR on objective maps and even higher on endless maps. That is to say, there is plenty of action to go around. As both Arrowhead Game Studios and apparently hour-long reviews on a certain gacha game would say, a game for everyone is a game for no one. GMB is the closest thing to a rebuttal of that statement. This game provides for both high and low cortisol playstyles. You can lead the team at the front as infantry or officer, or if you had a bad day, you can chill in the back and tap zombies as a seaman. As long as you fight, you can make valuable contributions to your team. Players are rewarded for actual teamwork, not the fake stuff that Arrowhead peddles that falls apart the instant a fourth of your team decides,
I'm gonna go this way, you guys go that way.
Sticking as a team reduces individual workload and means more barrels and bayonets at the ready and mutual cover from grabs and tackles. Although with enough hours played, even a single player can drag the team kicking and screaming to victory. What really hooked me about the gameplay is that you can visibly see yourself getting better. The skill floor is low, but the skill ceiling is astronomical. One example of this is melee combat. GMB melees have different attacks based on the swing direction. These swings take different amounts of time to complete and have different hitboxes. By using the fastest swing, the stab, and making a swiping motion with your mouse, you can approximate the hitbox generated by a slash, which takes longer to do. You can also jump to headshot zombies with a stab or use first person to get granular control of your blade. I know I keep mentioning Arrowhead and beating Helldivers 2 like a dead horse in my videos, but for all of its issues, which there are many, I really like Helldivers 2. GMB has those same qualities that really make me like HD2. In GMB, you have a managed sandbox where you can get away with trying different playstyles and see yourself getting better at the game over time, and I think that is the pitch that really hooked me onto the game. There are a variety of zombies that offer different challenges for the team to overcome. Some go after lone players, some need to be killed by firearms, others require the focus of the entire team to kill. Zombies that come from infected players are extremely scary and should be shot immediately if possible. The biggest threat in this game are not zombie hits, but instead zombie grabs and tackles, which make you vulnerable to being dogpiled on by other zombies. Your infantry is the frontliner melee class. Officers help out the front line with abilities that can be recharged by killing zombies. The Seaman is the most beginner-friendly class and gives you a gun that's actually useful. The Sapper is basically required on half the maps because they can build fortifications to slow zombies down. You also have a Musician who can either buff reload or swing speed. Just be aware that you will be attracting runners. The Medic keeps the team's health up, while the Chaplain keeps the infection down and can stun lock zombies with the power of Christ. There's a shop where you can use money earned from beating maps to buy new equipment. Sometimes they are a bit of an upgrade, like going from the pistol to the brass pistol, which is like a mini shotgun at the cost of only 2 seconds of reload. Sometimes they are side grades like the carbine, which grants the infantry a faster reload at the cost of damage, perfect for taking out incoming bombers. Or the lance, which takes the spot of the musket and is a spear that deals above average damage with one of the longest ranges in the game. But they could also be gimmick weapons that are considered downgrades, like the knock volley gun. Why would you ever use this? And sometimes they change how you play a class completely, like the Cuirassier armor, which provides melee and explosion resistance in exchange for firearm debuffs. GMB follows the stories of soldiers trapped in the middle of the apocalypse. Some are damned to fight to the last man against endless waves of zombies in, guess what, endless mode. Others are luckier and you follow the stories of their escape in the objective and holdout modes. Maps for both modes come in normal and hardcore flavors, with hardcore giving you more money and better players in exchange for the game being harder. Objective and holdout are the campaign modes of the game, meaning that there is a story being told and there is an ending. In these two game modes, you play as soldiers in exotic places like the middle of nowhere, Russia, and the middle of nowhere, Russia. Along the way, you will meet interesting individuals like Yevgeny Prigozhin, General Blucher, Jean-Louis Le Petit Oui Dubois, and Barry, who being a Red Coat officer secretly has 2 flintlocks ready to go, but he chooses to die anyways after remembering that he's British, forcing a survivor to sacrifice himself to lower a platform for the others to escape. Oh, and yes, the other 3 die as well. None of the NPCs survive. It is a truly bleak world. You don't just go from A to B in objective mode. You have to complete some objectives objectives to progress through the maps, with the ultimate goal of escaping the blight. These objectives are actually pretty creative. Some have you blowing up barricades with cannons, putting out house fires, and building platforms. You have to juggle manpower between doing the objective and defending. Also in objective mode, there are holdout sections where players have to defend against zombies for a set period of time until something happens. Typically, they are the final stands before escape becomes available at the end of the mission, but they could also not be. This is different from holdout mode, where players have to complete objectives, whether it be to build a bridge or survive 10 waves to win, which is also different from endless mode, because objective mode zombies are only endless during objective sections, which is different from holdout mode, which has an endless amount of zombies, like endless mode but with a win condition. Confused? You can press C on your keyboard to check your current objective. This is my most used keybind. The most recent addition to the game, the London objective map, is actually a two-part campaign and one of the coolest things I've played recently. It's a city-spanning adventure taking place in a blight-ravaged London. A ragtag group of survivors have to make their way to the Horse Guards building, the headquarters of the British military. Along the way, you meet the world's greatest sharpshooter, who is able to reload a rifle in 2 seconds flat and dome you from a distance of 100 times that number in yards. You also have to survive a great flood of central nervous system depressants that Roblox really does not want you to name, operate a human hamster wheel, have a boss fight with a zombie going sicko mode, and when you finally get there, everyone is dead. Going into the Horse Guards, you find the saddest man in Britain. Arthur Wellesley took the blame for the disaster at Waterloo, and he wanted to repent by organizing a brilliant defense of London that will hold hell at the gates. The plan almost worked, but the commanders under him broke ranks and ran. Even if Duke Wellington ran away, he would become a pariah to the British public. He orders you to
carry on and save yourselves.
Your only escape is the Westminster Bridge, which will be blown up at midnight. It's 11:50 p.m. Thankfully, there are wagons from the Royal Wagon Train downstairs that you can commandeer. You do get a bit of a breather as you mount the wagons, and everyone starts spamming the cavalry call out like it's 1905 during the Russian Navy, and cuirassiers are some kind of new Japanese torpedo boat that has been invented. Halfway to the bridge, disaster strikes as one of the wagon wheel breaks, and you have to retrieve a replacement from a destroyed wagon nearby. Back on track and making your way past the barricade, the bridge is finally in sight. Zombies know how to shoot cannons now, but you don't think about it too much because it's getting precariously close to when the bridge will start exploding. Not good. This is when the officers start popping the charges they've saved up. Finally, you make it to the other side. There is one last horde in front of you and you hear the explosions behind you. Between your allies on the walls and one last charge, you fight your way to the gates to the cheers of the assembled army. You can hear the explosions coming closer and closer. All you can do now is hold W and don't look back. But why is Guts and Blackpowder the best zombie game? Well, it's a game that understands the assignment. The saw factors like lore, the visuals, the sounds, complements an addictive gameplay loop built around getting better and trying new things. And all of that is wrapped around competently designed story missions. This game has a low skill floor and a high skill ceiling, with a bunch of nuances that you only learn from playing. It takes the best parts of other games like Left 4 Dead 2 and combines them with a unique premise that you probably never even considered and makes it work. If you play it just to chill, you have 19 other players you can rely on, and if you want to be competitive, there are hardcore servers and a bunch of achievements for you to go after. Personally, I like it because they managed to subvert the blood and iron formula into a wonderful zombie game. In a time where new zombie games have been honestly quite mid and the gems are over 10 years old, you should give Guts and Blackpowder a try, and you can play it for free. All the microtransactions are purely cosmetic. Oh, and the community is great, the wiki is great. That's not to say this game doesn't have WTF and annoying moments. Sometimes it does become a little janky Roblox game. The grind is also a little bit on the long side, although it's nowhere near as bad as something like War Thunder or, for those of you who know Elite Ball, Reason to Die. But these problems don't significantly detract from the overall experience. Also check the in-game settings menu because there are some things that you can turn on and off to make the game more gamified or more hardcore, depending on your taste. And hey, if you're not convinced, drop a comment down below and tell me why you do not agree with the conclusion I came to in this video. I really need the engagement, please, I beg you. Anyways, thanks for watching. I plan to switch between Roblox and not Roblox games for like the next few videos. The next one is either going to be about this RTS game that managed to incorporate complaining on the forums into its gameplay loop, or that one tank game that got injected with like a dose of psychological horror on the side, but you're gonna have to wait to see what I can come up with. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Bye-bye!